Bastion is the only city that matters. In its industrial age, it sits as the smoke-shrouded hub of mankind, surrounded by a world of lurking horrors and cosmic interference. This is Into the Odd.
lead the way. New RPG systems every day. Dice roll, quick adventure calls. Walking through tabletops, golden halls. Masters of pen and paper. RPGs of every flavor. Talking about different creators. The choice of games is never greater. Come with us to games they run through. New, old, and interesting. Thank you all for listening.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Episode 13, Masters of Pen and Paper podcast. My name is DG, and this is my main man,
Vinny, hey, how's it going?
How is it going? We've got a great game here for you tonight. I found this one because what we did was we did a search out there for ultralight RPGs, because we liked MÖRK BORG, and we liked all of these other like ultralights that we were running through, and so we were like, we got to get a few more of these just to check them out. And the top of the list, bar none, across the board, was Into the Odd. A lot of people were recommending Into the Odd. And so I had shown it to you. I had said, hey, check this book out. It's $15 on Drive-Thru-RPG. It's like $40 or something like that from their website. You can pick it up directly from them. But interesting game. Strange.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
A little out there.
Odd, one would say.
We're taking a wide turn away from fantasy RPGs here. Right?
Yeah.
Like we're not in the Sword Coast anymore.
No, we're not. We're very far from
Lord of the Rings isn't in this world.
This is more Sword Coast meets the Industrial Revolution.
Exactly. Yes. I guess that is correct.
Because there is still magic.
Oh yeah, no.
Here,
I mean,
as far as stuff goes, but
don't get me wrong. It is still like a game.
We ain't slaying orcs and goblins here.
No, we're going a little. We're getting a little weird this time.
Yeah, and that's good.
It's a good thing.
We gotta expand our horizons a little bit.
You reach your arms out and you see what you can touch, and this one's on it. A small book, a game that's been around for a little while.
A little bit, yes. It is written and published by Chris McDowall.
Great name.
Of Bastionland Press. Sorry, I say published, but it was actually Free League Publishing who published this book for him. Okay. Because Free League Publishing, I believe, is also the guys that did MÖRK BORG as well, or one of the other games
I
we
believe
played.
So.
We did.
Yes.
And they are really cool people to work for. They work with smaller indie developers to kind of get their product out to people, and it's really nice to see something like that happen. Mm-hmm. So Chris is a game designer. He's based out of Manchester, UK. Yep, somewhere in there.
He's based out of Manchester.
Manchester, yeah. Well, there's a couple of them, so he's the one across the pond.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
To date, he has released 7 games, including Into the Odd. His big breakout one was Electric Bastion, which is the sequel to this, Into the Odd. Now, we are specifically talking about the Into the Odd remastered version.
That's right, yeah. 2022 version.
He has gone back and redone some of the intricacies of it and added some more to it after he had released his Electric Bastion book, to kind of bring it more into line with how his new vision or his new game kind of went.
That's right. Yeah. He's looking at what the new game did and was successful in, and then kind of did a little bit of retroactive fixing. He George Lucas did a little bit.
Yeah, as all great creators do, they tend to look at their first works and go,
this could have been better.
I could have done better. And he did. He went back and he said, oh, this could use a little tweaking. It didn't quite work out the way I wanted it. And he did that and re-released it. And it is stunning.
People are very happy with this version of it, right? Like, I don't hear a whole lot about the original. I mean, there is obviously out there, but the vast majority of people taking the remastered version of it and making it like the version now. Like, everyone's very happy with the changes, which I thought was good. That was a good thing.
And it's very good. The system, the game itself is very good. The book is amazingly well done.
Yes.
It's the physical copy is like a stitched binding book, and it is very nice.
And it's just a little guy. It's just a little guy. It's the digest size or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
the A5.
It's similar to size in as MÖRK BORG and Pirate BORG, I believe. Yeah. That's about all I got on Chris McDowall.
It was, I mean, what else is to say? The dude that I gotta say, Chris McDowall, dynamite name. Love it. That's a power name.
Solid name.
Yeah. Way to go, Chris. Well done. So I mean,
into the nuts.
Yeah, it's time to jump into the actual game.
It's what we do.
It is. So I mean, we're talking about another roll under system here, right?
We are.
That's something that seems to be a common thread with a lot of these ultralights, is that they tend to go with the roll under system, and I don't understand the why gravitate towards the roll under instead of the roll over.
I think the roll under system grants itself well to a D20 with no modifiers.
That's
applied.
A good point too. Yeah, I guess keeping it simple so that the numbers don't get out of hand and crazy. Yeah, everything's kind of kept in reach.
So we are in rules light territory. Very rules light territory, actually.
We're talking like 40 pages rules light, right? Like
reading through the book, it's quite hard to figure out what's a rule and what isn't, what's a suggestion.
That's right.
You know, how this is actually supposed to work together. But they do include an example of play, which is like a hefty 4 or 5 pages worth of text dictating how their game works.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, this game has a whole lot of flavor and like world built around it, and it is so nice to just look at it and go, wow.
Yep.
That's happening here, right?
It's good. I like it.
So the reason to be playing this game, the reason that you are playing this game is your characters are in this industrial city. There's smog everywhere.
Yep.
You're looking for Arcanum. Now, these are highly sought after items, game-changing items, some might say. Not mechanically game-changing, but flavor-wise, lots of them are very exploration-oriented rather than combat-oriented. Because, hey, we're in rules like the combat rules are like a line or two.
They barely exist.
Right? So we're doing a lot of narrative going on here.
The game plays itself very like this game is designed to be played theater of the mind. This is not a map and token game. This is a theater of the mind game. Everyone's sitting around the table. We're just talking and proper role playing.
Combat rules specify movement is, whatever the GM figures is the right amount of movement to move across. It's very similar to MÖRK BORG.
There's a lot of loosey-goosey here.
Stuff. There's no broken down things you can do in combat or out of combat. It's just whatever the GM deems is okay.
Exactly. These Arcanum items are the magic items in the game, essentially, but they're not magic items like a +1 sword, right? Like the items are incredibly unique. They're intended to be a little bit weird, a little off the wall. And on pages 134 and 135, there's a lot of tables in the back of the book called the Oddpedia, but the pages 134 and 135 specifically have tables to help generate that new arcanum, because that's essentially why are we going into the odd? Well, we're in search of these magic items. We're in search of these arcanum items.
Yes.
And
very sought after things.
And those items carry with them powers and hazards that increase with the level of the item. The stronger the item, the stronger the power, but potentially the stronger the hazard as well. Some of the items are like, you could wear them, you could pocket them, you can have them on your person. Some of these items are huge. Like, they're the size of a flipping room kind of thing.
And like a throne.
Yeah. Like,
or as small as a coin, as big as a room.
There's a lot in there.
And the Arcanum come in 3 different grades, let's call them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got the normal, we got greater, and we got legendary.
That's right.
Now, these are also broken down into the normal ones are broken into a D66, which is you roll 2 D6s. One is your 10s, one is your 1s, and you read them together, right? That's, like you would with a 2D10 for your D100. And then there's a table of a list of, I believe that's 36 Arcanum that you can possibly get with your character creation.
Exactly.
And then, of course, further on and out, you got more and more with the greater and the legendary.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of grows in the length of time. As long as you can stay alive, you have a better shot at this.
Yeah. So getting into character creation.
Character creation. I put in the notes, this is hands down, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is hands down the most simplistic system we've ever seen for character creation.
This is faster than MÖRK BORG.
I did not think it was possible.
You could pound out probably 6 characters from Into the Odd to 1 character in MÖRK BORG.
It's insane.
Crazy.
It is beyond insane how light it is. And I gotta say, I kind of dig it, right? Like, I mean, if you're going to be rules light, if you're going to be light on your feet for a game like this, having the character creation this light as well allows you to spend more time into emphasizing the quirks of your character rather than dealing with the mechanics of your character.
Yeah. So we've got 3 main ability scores this time, as opposed to every other game where we have 4 to 6.
Right.
Today we are talking strength, which is your fighting, your fortitude, and your toughness.
Yep.
You got your dexterity, which is your grace, your athletics, and your reflexes.
Makes sense.
And you have willpower, which is your confidence, your discipline, and your charisma. And that's it.
You roll 3d6 down the line.
Down the line. No modifiers, no BS, just
if you hit a 10, you're average.
That's right.
Just basic.
Characters start with D6 HP. There's no classes. There's no anything. There's no races. There's nothing. You just D6. All right. Next up, we pick our starter package.
And this would be, the starter packages would be where the characters diverge slightly.
Yeah, this would be where your kind of quote unquote class would come from, I guess. As loosely as we could call a class here. Now, you start off with your highest ability score and your HP, and you go to the table, which is a very handy table, and you find your ability score, and that's the row that you work off of, and then you go along the top and find your HP, and that's the column you work off of, and you find the intersection of that, and that is the package that you get.
There it is.
Now, if 2 starting characters would get the same package, what the second character that would get that package, whoever rolled second, has to take the one to the left.
Got it.
Or the right if you can't.
Right, yes. It's a little loose, too. So, I mean, it's the referee's roll again.
Exactly, yes. That's right. We will state that the referee is the GM in this game.
Yeah, they are a referee in this game.
Much like Traveler.
We're going to say GM and DM, just so you know. It's going to come out.
I'm curious if that is a thing from... across the way, or if it's
possible.
if it's something they just chose.
Well, DM is D&D.
That is proprietary.
GM seems to be the other games, and then every now and then you get a referee poke out, unless you're playing that other game, which was like, what was it? Call of Cthulhu was like the master of all the things.
Oh,
it was like it was some big giant title, right?
The keeper of the
arcane secrets. I mean, they lean into it, right? So, but I mean, like, So just so you know, for all the listeners, it's going to come out of my mouth. I know it's going to come out of my mouth. I'm going to say GM. I mean referee. This game calls it a referee. You call it whatever you want. Your fun is valid. You can call it anything you'd like.
We're going to try our darndest to keep saying referee, but it's
I'm
probably
do my
going
best.
to come out as GM.
I promise you, it's going to come out at least once as the
and that's it. We're done.
Yeah,
character
that's it.
creation.
You once you're done rolling on this table, you're ready to go. Your character's done.
So you take your 9d6, you roll them all.
Yep.
Right. Hopefully you got 3 different colors of them.
Hopefully.
And then you take an extra d6, roll your HP, hit the table, boom, done.
Character done.
Like, that is
the hardest
so
part.
Quick.
Is going to be coming up with the name. It really is.
That's going to take the longest.
It's going to take the longest to name your character, because I mean, like, that is it. I gotta say, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen a simpler system for character creation. Now, with that being said, there is something to be said about making it too lean, right? Like I said, there's no classes here, so we're working on these starter kits. It's a cool idea. It's unique. It's unique in the sense that this game doesn't have classes, so this is how it gives it to you. But I gotta say, sometimes I just want to be like, I want to be the wizard, and away you go. Now, with that being said, your fun is valid, man. You just
I'm sure your referee will let you just
say,
pick the starter package that you want. Yeah,
they give you some of these, and away you go.
Exactly.
You know?
Now, I will state that in that table, there are chances to get Arcana.
Yep.
Which is your magic items, your and things like that. And like one of the Arcana is like a coin that it's like fool's coin or something like that. That whoever sees it lusts after that coin for 1 hour. They just want to have that coin. That's all it does. After 1 hour, it wears off and you're immune to it. Like,
that's funny.
It's completely.
I mean,
flavor,
but
it's something that you
potentially good distraction. Like, hey, look at this.
Exactly.
I want that. Go get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Go get it. He'll be busy for an hour.
He'll be busy for an hour. Let's go. Right. So I mean, everything in here is done in a way that I think would be pretty good. Like, I like 3 HP rolling an 11 gives you a musket, a mallet, marbles, a fancy hat, and arcanum. Right? Like, that's a pretty sweet kit.
That's a good kit.
Right? Versus what was the one I was looking at here?
I think one of them gives you a pigeon and a stick and something else.
It was this one. Max HP rolling an 18 gives you a mace, a pigeon, which is disfigured, and you're disfigured. Right? There's another one, sword, shield, and you're illiterate. Right? Like, so I mean, it's not all good news on here. Some of it is not, but I mean, with the character creator being so easy, that character is not going to last for a long time.
But this is what gives you your flavor of your character, right? This is what gives you those little quirks to work off of.
Exactly.
And it's really nice to see that.
Yep.
For smaller parties, the book does suggest giving the party PCs companions. Now, these companions get rolled with the same kind of ability scores. They're rolled the same way, 3d6 down the line. But they are given one single hand weapon, and they only have 1 HP. So they are not the stars of the show.
That's right. They're sideline. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And that's about it.
That's it. I mean, that's
all we got for character creation. That is literally all of the character creation stuff.
That's expanding all of it, right? Like, I mean, the reality of it is you roll a small handful of dice, you have a character, and you move on. And that's that, right?
The Arcana, again, is more for social interactions as opposed to combat-oriented stuff, which is very refreshing. coming from the bigger name games that are mostly combat oriented, because the game is mostly combat oriented for those bigger games.
This one's heavy focus on role play and less on the combat side of the house.
Yeah.
And of course, speaking of combat, this game is weird. This game is very strange when it comes to that, right? Like,
it's fast. It's made.
It's intended to be quick.
There's no sitting and thinking about, oh, what am I going to do on my turn? Oh, I got this. No, you got this.
Yep.
You got a movement. You got an action.
Yep.
Yeah. At the start of combat, there's no initiative.
There's no roll for initiative in this.
No, the players get to go first before the enemies, typically, unless there is going to be a surprise round by the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I believe it's like a willpower or a dex save, and you can mitigate that.
Yep.
And then there's also no rolls to hit.
That's right.
So you say I attack
damage
him, so you just roll damage that your axe says you're doing is like a D8. So you just roll a D8, and then of course, armor is a damage reduction, and that's all it is. You always hit. And everybody always hits. They just roll the damage. It makes it so fast.
It's fast, yeah.
It's so fast.
Yeah, so I mean, basically the way that it works is when you get hit, the target of the attack subtracts it from their current armor score. Then it dips into the HP. And if it exceeds the HP, it starts to dip into the strength. And there's a lot going on in that regard. There's also the concept of impaired and enhanced, where if your character hasn't rested or had food or water that day, the character is considered to be impaired. Therefore, every single attack they do, the highest damage, will be done at a D4. Period.
Yeah.
All damage.
That's nuts.
It
doesn't matter if you got a blunderbuss to the
it's D4.
face. Yeah.
D4 across the board. Now, of course, there's the alternative, which is the enhanced. If a character uses an attack that the target is weak against, that attack's considered to be enhanced, and then the damage is now boosted to a D12.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got a pretty wide variety in that regard of things. So, combat is still helpful.
Those are very extreme ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, D4 to D12.
Especially when our HP is a D6.
5? That's right, exactly. Yeah. I had mentioned about the HP running out and dipping into the strength. So if that happens, you're considered to have taken a wound. And when you take a wound, you have to make a strength saving throw on the new value that you have now, or you're going to suffer critical damage.
Now remember, this is a roll under.
It's a roll under system. That's right.
As your strength drops, that roll is going to get harder and
harder as time goes on. And if you're in a state of critical damage, you have to take a short rest and be tended to by an ally within an hour, or you're dead.
But that only brings back your HP.
That's correct.
It does not bring back your strength score.
That's correct.
Your strength score takes a week of long resting, a week of downtime to get your strength back.
To get it back to where it is. The concept of healing said wound.
I really,
that's a cool system.
Really like this.
That's a cool system.
I like that the HP drop, it's not a big deal because you can get that back. But the ability score drop is huge.
That's a big deal.
Because that also takes into effect like anything that you're doing. Right?
That's right. Yeah, it's all part of it. The other thing that's really cool about this is that monsters actually take advantage of this too, in that if the monsters are given an opportunity to do critical damage on you, typically they have the ability to basically provide an instant death moment on the PCs.
Yeah.
So combat's not always the best choice. If it's between you potentially taking critical damage or a wound, it might be time to run, to get out of there.
And I think that's why combat is so fast, because it's the spur of the moment kind of thing. And if you're not careful, you're going to get into a heap of doo-doo real quick.
You're going to have a bad time.
But again, that's another one of the things that I really like about this system is that the combat is so quick the effects, like the detriments, are so detrimental. Like dropping below your 0 HP and getting half of your strength reduced is
it's huge. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and the thing is too is that having it built out that way allows you to do two things. One, you're not going to be so indebted to your character that you're going to be sad when they're toast. But two, it's going to add that real level of pressure onto all decisions. And you're going to have to live with the decision that you make, whatever it is. If it's to go into combat, well, exactly. If it's to go into combat and it costs you your party's life, well, I mean, that's the way the dice roll.
That sucks. But hey, that was a choice that you guys made, not me.
Exactly.
Page 42 kicks off the referee section for this game, and players need not read because, hey, I mean, you can because there's nothing in there.
It's very light. It's very, very light.
I say that, but there is some... so the way that Chris McDowall gives advice for referees is the referee has to, be like, they have to give information, they have to present choices, and they have to show the impact. And that is the three things that Chris McDowall says a referee has to do.
Right.
And this can be like, this is system agnostic advice. Like in your D&D game, give information, present choices for that information, and show the impact of those choices, whether they are good or bad. Because that is what makes the narrative push forward, and that's what makes the party feel like they're actually living in this character trying to do this thing, right? If you lay out a whole bunch of stuff and don't tell your party about it, well, they're just going to bypass 3/4 of that and not even notice it.
That's
because you didn't say anything and they're not playing a video game.
This is what adds the drama to your game.
Yeah.
This is what you want at your table. You want them to understand that it's not always a good idea to just take the diplomatic route. Sometimes you have to cross swords.
Well, and this is what elevates your game from your typical reading of the script to a Matt Mercer-esque game, right? I mean, minus the voice acting, because nobody got time for that.
For sure. But I mean, the concept of basically that the referee's job is to do exactly that: give out the information, present the choices, and make them understand that their choices have impact.
Yes, and that they impact the world.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's all silly willy fun time.
It is. You want to be immersive as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Lifting that veil has detrimental effect on the game. So the more you can keep the players grounded into it, the far better the end result of the game will be.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's about all the information referee gets.
It's really funny because like that is the gist of it. I mean, it's got your basic run-of-the-mill
it
advice
breaks down
for running the game. It tells you about ability scores, tells you about the saves, it tells you about damage and how long a turn should be. Like the typical stuff that you would expect in any GM guide that for any GM game kind of thing. It's all in there. Various advice for hazards and treasures and how to design encounters. But there's other parts in here, and it's quick. There's only like a small handful of pages. Right?
I was going to say the referee section of this book is 4 pages, and one of them is a full page illustration. I mean, and that's the thing. And then the next thing you know, you're looking at the treasure table. Yeah, and that this game, like I say, it's really hard to tell what a rule is and what a suggestion is in this game because it's broken down so bare bones for you. And it's really up to the imagination of the referee to be like, hey, this is what I want in my game.
Yep.
Here it is. Here's the mechanic for you guys.
Yeah.
Or just hand wave it and say, yeah, we don't care about encumbrance around here. We don't care about, you don't have to worry about taking food and water with you because you're adventurers. You know this
exactly,
that you have to take it with you.
Well, and that's where in the see, I almost did it again. That's where in the referee section, there's a section on luck rolls. I don't know if you had a chance to kind of dive into this part or not, but the luck rolls are essentially an opportunity for the referee to throw an element of randomness into it. So rather than tracking your encumbrance or tracking your food and water, you have the party make a luck roll. And a luck roll is essentially a d6 roll where a high roll favors the players and a low roll is bad luck for them. So if we're talking in food and water, you make a luck roll, they roll a 3, 2, or 1, and they didn't find food or water for the day. And now, guess what? We go back to what we were talking about before, where they are now impaired.
Yeah.
Or they found some food and water, and they are properly rested, and they're good to continue going through. This luck roll replaces all of those complexities. You can throw it for whatever you want, right? Like, it's situations that would be dictated by luck or fall outside of the 3 ability scores. If it's not a strength, a dexterity, or willpower, then it's a luck roll, and that's how you're going to determine it.
And I glossed over that. I thought luck roll. Okay.
Yeah, it's luck roll. Whatever.
No, that is a really cool mechanic.
It's a cool
really
idea.
Like
I thought it when I started reading, I thought it was going to be like the advantage system for the game, right?
Yeah.
But from what I could tell, the advantage system doesn't exist, which makes sense because you're not making it.
Because you're not making hits. Yeah.
But this was a really cool ad. I liked the concept of the luck roll because it essentially gave the referee the ability to essentially throw a wrench. The party's really got it going on. They're like, yep, great. And then the referee's like, okay, I want you to make a luck roll. And they fail it. And it's like the person you're escorting trips and breaks their leg, and now you have to carry them the rest of the way. Right?
Yeah,
like
your movement slowed by 1 day.
So I mean, it's just it's stuff like that I think that would kind of jolt some of the mundane things, and it allows you to eliminate the stuff like you're talking about, the food and water, the encumbrance, the other stuff. Yeah, the encumbrance doesn't have to make your luck roll, and you could carry all this kind of stuff, but you fail it. Well, now you have to get rid of some stuff because you can't carry it all. Boom.
That makes, and this is what Traveler did really well. The emergent gameplay, the emergent storytelling really pops out with this stuff, and it's with the rules light systems themselves
for sure.
It really pops with stuff like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree, and Traveler did it fantastic as well, right? It's that concept of that random throw a wrench into the middle of things to create more chaos, to help grow the story out, to
flesh the story out. It doesn't even have to do anything with the story, just have to make the world feel more real. Yeah, absolutely love it. We've got the oppendium.
The odd pendium,
sorry. It's towards the end of the book.
Page 116.
Page 116, correct. And this is a whole bunch of tables, a whole bunch of D100 tables for
tables and tables and tables and tables. We love tables here at Masters of Pen and Paper.
Yes. Tables are our favorite things.
The beauty with these tables is they are not specific to this game. You can very easily borrow these for other games.
Yes, you can, and you know who's going to.
And I mean, and it kind of identifies that to you as well, right? Like, it says in here, like, think of this section as a toolbox for those moments when you need a strange drink to find in a flask, a creepy landlord, or just a random event to shake the situation up in the game. It's very, very cool. And there's a wide array of things in these tables, right? We talked about the Arcanum and building Arcanum. That's part of these tables. But
it is. There's also public reaction. And that's a D6, and that goes from anywhere from riots to, well, it's about time. Thanks for doing that. Like, holy cow.
There is also the there's also the astral cults, for example.
Yes.
There's an entire page of like occupations.
There's one that's, what is this street like? And that's a D100.
Manners, events.
And I will say that half of these tables do have two sides
That's
to them.
correct,
So
yeah.
there's like a weird creature inspiration. We have the nature of the creature and the form that creature takes. So you could have a solid smoke obese biped. That's terrifying.
It is.
My mind's eye just pictured that, and I was like, oh God,
well, and
no.
The beauty with those tables that have the two sides, you can choose to take the row
Both
as it
along
is,
the line. Yeah.
Or you roll twice.
I would roll twice.
And away
because
she
that
goes.
gives you it would be so crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot in here. I gotta say, my absolute favorite table out of this list was what happens when you eat the stuff.
Yeah. that's a good one. It tastes pickled.
Right?
You get real drunk.
Yeah. There's also, as you continue down the way, there's some alternative starter packages.
Yes.
And so that was mentioned above with the character creation. They've included some additional tables here that you can in case you've rolled that table to death and you need a bit of a refresher, that's also in here too. So quite a few tables.
There's also different kinds of mutants, unhumans,
right? Yes,
stuff like that. It's so
there's a lot of really cool stuff.
There's a lot of stuff, and it's really cool. It's really well done. Each table is basically one page, and like we're talking the little, you said A5 size, right?
Yeah.
So little
Reader's
small
Digest
book
size.
Yeah, and you just go with it.
Yeah, very cool.
There is no leveling up in this game.
Yeah, I put it in quotations. Leveling up.
Yeah.
It is kind of like leveling up.
There's leveling up, but it's not with points.
Yeah.
We don't care about points. I mean, you can throw points out, but they don't matter. Kind of like some Who's Line.
This is Who's Line level. Yeah.
Yeah. So what it is that it's actually based on expeditions, so adventures that your character completes. They go out, they do the adventure, they come back.
They don't get experience points. They get experiences.
Yes. Now, and it ramps up real quick.
Yeah, it does.
Because
characters are short-lived, so I mean that makes sense.
Well, they are. But not only that, a novice adventurer, you are a brand new character. You're level 1.
Well, this is your level
possibly
1.
level 0.
Yep.
Call it level 0.
You can call it level purple. It literally doesn't matter because you're novice. That's what it is.
Yeah, you are ultraviolet. Wait, what?
That's right. Friend computer.
So you're ready to go on your first expedition. So you go out on your expedition, you come back. Hey, you are a professional now.
Yep.
Ta-da.
Welcome to the new level.
Yeah.
You
so
got
now
nothing for it other than a title.
Well, no. You get a D6 for your HP.
Oh, that's true.
And then you get to roll a D20 for each one of your ability scores.
Right.
Now, if you roll higher, this is the only time that you have to roll higher.
That's right.
If you roll higher, you get to increase that ability score by 1. Now, I will state this is the only roll above.
Only of all the rolls.
Only.
You want this one to be high.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, well, I know why, because you can't increase it with a roll under.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the only roll over, and you get to increase it by 1. That is all you get with your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, leveling up to level 2 or professional, or sorry,
expert. Yep.
You have to go on 3 adventures now. So they take it ramps up. So it takes longer and longer things to get better and better and better. Yep. Obviously,
for sure.
Yeah,
because I mean, obviously, the higher your character's HP and the higher your abilities are, the more likely you are to survive as you go out. The harder the monsters have to be as you go out as well. So yes. All the way up to the Beyond level, which is basically like Legacy. Cosmic transcendence.
I like this description.
Yeah.
Even upon reaching master level, a character may have greater ambitions. This could be a desire for a legacy, immortality or cosmic transcendence.
Like-
so you could transform into a beam of light
Exactly.
on your next level up.
Yeah,
right?
you've now exceeded all other beings.
The only adventures you want to go on are things that motivate or get you closer to transcending.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like this because it takes all of the muck out of it, right? We're not tracking experience points. None of that matters. That's all irrelevant.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it real fresh and basic. These are the kind of things that need to be in the ultralight games, right? Like you can't bog it down with minute experience point bull.
We cannot be tracking points in an ultralight.
No, very basic. And so this is done right.
This is the way I dare say this is the right way to do it.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a take on milestone level ups, and
it is.
It's the right call.
It really is. So between expeditions, you come back to town, you spend your downtime.
Yep.
During downtime, the parties have the ability, and this is part of the rules, to build a business or something. It's called Enterprise and War. So you can have a detachment of officers that you are in control of, like a mercenary band, or you can have an enterprise that is a legit business.
Right.
Depending on what, and there's no breakdown of what this could be or what anything. This is up to the party and the referee to suss out between themselves as to how this comes about or not. And it is a really unique kind of downtime activity for the players to do. New businesses generate a passive income of D4 gold guilders. Sorry, I just supposed to say gold. We have pennies, we have guilders, and we have shillings.
That's right. Yeah.
It is 100 pennies to a shilling, 100 shillings to a guilder. So
100 copper
there
to
we
a
go.
silver, 100 silver to a gold.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
It's across the water talk. I can't help it.
generating that passive income is fun. This is why the game is very theater of the mindy. This is why this game is very roleplay heavy, is because this is actually the meat of the game, right? The going out on the adventures and the stuff like that, that is like 51%. It is the bulk of the game. But this
49% is the in between.
This stuff, right? Like, and so the game is designed to be playing in this kind of concept, meeting people, shaking hands, having conversations, having things that eventually lead to another adventure, kind of thing.
Yeah, or espionage, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will say that while the business generates passive guilders per month, they also face a threat that causes D4 in losses per month, and until it is dealt with. Now, again, these threats are not laid out at all. This is just, hey, something is threatening your business.
Yep.
You got to do something about it, you suffer losses.
Exactly.
And then when you run out of money, your business goes under and everybody's
flat broke.
Oats.
Out on your butts.
But if your business makes a profit, the income gets bumped up to the next tier of dice. So from a D4 to a D6 to a D8 to a D10 to a D12, and it maxes out at the D12. It does not go any higher.
Does it go to the 20?
Because we are not playing Dungeon Crawl Classics where we get the D, 14, the 27.
Oh, the fun dice. Yes.
All the fun dice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool idea.
It's
not for me.
It's 2 pages worth of stuff. It's a drop in the bucket
for
of
sure.
The amount of stuff in here. This is a very small book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. This is the stuff that I think the crews that are like theater camp folks that eat, sleep, and breathe the concept of like improv and like challenging each other with like coming up with stories and working through that kind of stuff. I think those are the folks that are really going to get their money's worth out of this. But for me, when I play games, I tend to set stuff that happens between adventures off to the side. This is what we do. We're going to go to a store. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
This. Okay, here's what you find. Here's how much it costs. Do you
Done.
want it? Yes.
Yeah.
And we move on. Because to me, there's the fun isn't had in haggling for a broom. You know what I'm saying? The fun is had being out on the adventure. So the fastest path to get back to the adventure for me, that's where I enjoy it. So this one didn't resonate with me nearly that much, but I completely get it. I am not saying this is not fun. I am simply saying this part is definitely not for me.
This is not for DG.
This part's not for DG. DG's attention span is way too low to even have a chance at holding on to that one.
That's good. Hazards on page 50. They are dealt with in a very, very neat and clean way. And I really, really like this. I would almost implement this into every game that I play because
it's a cool idea.
It is so crisp.
Yeah, I do like it a lot.
So hazards and traps and whatnots are always seen by the party.
Yeah.
They are never hidden. It's a hurdle for the party to overcome. It's not something that you spring on them because, hey, we have D6 health.
Yeah.
We don't want to die to the spike trap.
No,
okay?
Exactly.
We can see that we're moving through a corridor. You're not, holding your torch forward and marching blindly. You're looking and you're always kind of checking your surroundings as you would walking down the sidewalk of the street, right? You're watching the sidewalk more or less to make sure that you're not tripping over something or someone. It shouldn't have to be a perception check every square of the way. And that's what I really like about this.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if the party is rushing or running, they are going to miss some of that stuff.
That's right.
And that will have certain consequences.
Totally.
But I can't emphasize how much I really like this, that traps are automatically seen.
Yeah.
They're not hidden.
It's a really good idea. And again, leaning into that ultralight concept of things, it takes a lot of the okay, I move 5 feet. I want to check for traps. Okay, I move 5 feet.
Yes.
I want to check for traps. No. You just see it. There it is.
Yeah.
There's a locked door in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have
there's
a key.
a locked door. You can always I think the rules state that you can always pick a locked door.
Right.
It just is a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. How long is it going to take?
The only time a dex check should be done for a locked door is if there is a time constraint.
Or you're in a hurry or something.
Or if there's a chance of somebody to hear it on the other side.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you pick the lock, done, walk through.
Totally.
We don't need to roll for this stuff.
No, and they've included some sample hazards on page 53 as well. Things like a stupefying dart. There's a pipe visible at the base of the chest. Triggered by opening the chest without taking appropriate precautions, broken darts litter the floor of the room. So that's like you walk in, you see a chest, broken darts littering the floor of the room. If you go and you open that chest without taking any precautions, you're gonna take a dart to the
because the referees told you. You
literally just told you
tube on the the base of the chest. I mean,
exactly.
That's up to you. I mean, I gave you the information. You do with it
exactly.
What you will.
Yeah. Swinging blades, eternally swinging over a corridor in sequence, can be blocked only by a very strong metal pole or other such objects passing through without disabling causes D10 damage. So, I mean, it's very, very on the face.
Yeah. So there's no dex roll for that.
No dex roll. No, if you walk into those blades, you're getting cut.
There is no skipping through unscathed.
You better figure out how to disable them.
That's right. Yeah. No, or unless because there is no rules for this.
Yep.
The party can say, "Oh, I lay down on the floor right close to the corner and kind of worm my way through."
Right.
And the GM's like, "You know what? That's kind of cool. Sure. Why not?"
Yep. Or make a luck roll if it's something like that, right?
If it's half decent, sure, you make it.
Because the concept with the luck rolls with the hazards is like if you're doing something risky. So we need to get across that. We don't have time to shut this thing down. What we can do is we're going to make these jumps. Okay, well, instead of taking the auto damage, you can tell them to make a luck roll.
Yeah, it's
and
risk reward.
You can skew the luck based on how difficult it is. So maybe it's a like really difficult task and they're still pushing forward anyways. You make the luck roll and you say, listen, if it's anything but a 1, you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
And you have the players roll it. That's there's your drama, right? You have the players roll it. It's like, if it's anything but a 1, if this is what you want to do, if it's anything but a 1, you're going to take the damage. You can roll the dice when you're ready.
Yeah.
And to me, that would be really, those are those epic moments, right? When you walk away from the table,
those
you're
are
like,
the ones
remember
that
that time when,
remembers.
right?
Yeah.
Like, exactly.
And that is it for the rules.
That's it. There's no more rules.
Quote unquote rules.
That's right. Very, 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 very light. Like
it's the book of suggestions here.
Yeah. And most of it being tables.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I will say we are not double columned of text on here. Like the amount of words per page is like 30.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's very well broken up. It's very easy to read.
I was just gonna say it's laid out in a way that's super easy to read.
It is.
The place setting is in a city called Bastion, which is like the hub of mankind is what it's referred to in the book here. And like you said,
the only city.
It's the only city.
Yeah.
And like you've been saying, it's like Industrial Revolution. So there's smokestacks, there's smog in the air.
Yes.
It's like it's just flooded with people.
You think Industrial Revolution, there's a smokestack every 15 feet.
Yep.
They're like 38 stories tall and they're just billowing out black smoke. There's foundries on every corner making every kind of iron ingot they can, smelting ingots into anything that they can.
Yeah.
And we're talking like steam power. We're talking like you could go steampunk, you could go diesel punk, you could go all sorts of things with that. Just a real grimy feeling, dirty place.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love this setting.
It's a really cool setting. They set up a couple of factions. They've set up a couple of areas like the underground and the like outside the city limits. And then there are like other cities, but they're definitely nowhere near like what Bastion is, right? Because it's got to mention that it's like their own stretches of country, dialects, fashions, and customs vary hugely. Increasing number of citizens leave these comparatively primitive cities for a new life in Bastion. Like they're stuck in the past.
Yeah,
people are flocking to Bastion, or kind of thing.
This is basically the London Industrial Revolution, and everybody else is trying to catch up.
Just trying to catch up.
All these nameless little cities or towns, little dwellings, even gatherings of dwellings. Joe Farmer wants to get in there and be part of the action.
Exactly. And then it ends the section saying there's rumors and whispers of trying to take down Bastion, basically, right? Like trying to take him down. And so it opens up those avenues to helping you create the game that you want to play here, kind of thing, right?
Gives you juice to work with. Yeah.
And like every page I found really had a lot going for it there. But so that's it. 61 pages of rules. And then you're at the end, and again, in true ultralight fashion, we have ourselves included a sample adventure.
We get a free adventure.
It's so good, and I love games.
This one is fairly large.
Yeah, this one is great, and it's really, really well done in teaching you how to play the game.
It is. I really like this adventure. I like the way it's laid out. I like everything about it because it's so great.
Yeah.
So it gives you a little breakdown of it's called the Iron Coral. Iron Coral.
Coral.
Not the corral.
Not the corral.
It's a coral.
Not the OK Corral. This is the Iron Coral.
You're on the edge of the sea, the coral.
That's right, yeah.
And it says right in the book, stop reading if you're attending to play in these locations.
Yeah.
Because, spoiler alert, this is for the referee only. So the Iron Coral is a recent addition to these isolated waters. Remote fishermen have seen jagged metallic form grow out of the sparkling ocean over no more than a month. Cavernous holes beckon from its sponge-like shell, and the few sent to explore inside have not returned. Naturally, this had led to rumors of mysterious powers lurking within. And that is the adventure hook right there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is so cool.
It's really cool. And I mean, it really gets you like really revved up to throw down with this, right?
Yeah.
And the Iron Coral is like a 3-tiered like dungeon crawl.
It's got basically 3 levels to the dungeon, and each level has like up to 20 rooms in each one. The way that the adventure is broken down for the referee to play, it's very much like the MÖRK BORG adventure, where it's got the room. Okay, and your little stat block for your room is the pit.
Yeah.
Here is the talking cues, the sensory cues on your on the pit, and you got dark cave with echoing waves, and that's all you need.
Yep.
And then what I really, really like about this is for every exit out of that room, the stat block has a little arrow pointing which way that exit is.
Right.
And it also tells you what room is the next one down that hallway. And it gives you a little bit of a description of what's that hallway / doorway corridor kind of looks, smells, sounds like. And that's cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
It makes it really easy to run something like this because, you're going straight down. Well, there's 2 rooms to the south. There's an alcove. You look through it. Okay. Or there is a foam-filled passageway. Now, this is all filled with sea foam. And do you touch it? Yes, no? Who knows? Is it going to hurt you?
Right.
I don't know. And it's just like that, and you can smell it through. Smell through there. This foam smells salty, like sea foam. Okay, well then it's probably harmless.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the adventure was really good, and I like the way that they listed out too, because like in the same style as the rest of the book, it's very light, but it's punchy. It's got a lot of information, right? And the other thing, and I know we didn't really mention it up to this, but this game doesn't come with a monster manual. There's no bestiary in this game at all.
There isn't.
It gives you a couple sample monsters, and then that's about it. Like you don't really get anything else. So in the adventure is where it like really lists out kind of like what you can do with the monsters, right? There's a lot there.
There's a hungry swarm of piranha rats.
Right.
They have 5 HP, they do D6 jaw damage, and they fight as a detachment. So there's a bunch of them.
Right.
And they're easily distracted by other food sources.
Oh man. Like
you just grab out of your backpack, you grab some rations and throw them, and there's this swarm of piranha rats run off.
It's definitely a choice to not include a monster manual of sorts. I mean, of course, that's what keeps the book light, right?
Yes,
you've got page 54 and 55. That's what makes up the encounter, followed by a couple sample monsters. I mean, like, there is definitely a benefit in the sense that you're creating your own monsters 100% instead of like the same old tired goblins. But with that being said, I mean, obviously that's going to put a lot of extra effort on the GM now to come up with something. It might come up organically to create the monsters as you go through the space. which is why those tables are there that are super handy. But I mean, you can only do so much with a random table. You've got to plan some of this stuff.
You can play off the environment of your dungeon as well, which all GMs typically do anyway.
Yeah.
Right? You don't
For
put
sure.
a harpy in a lava cavern.
Right, exactly.
It's not something that would be there.
But it was an interesting choice, I guess, to not list any monsters. You know, they gave you the examples. They weren't even like, here's a couple pages of them kind of thing. But
yeah. I will say at the end of the adventure, it turns into a hex crawl.
Right.
There is a big 24 hex crawl that is also attached to this, the Fallen Marsh. And this is more of it's not really part of the adventure. It's a separate thing that is kind of an overworld adventure rather than a dungeon crawl. And that's about it.
That's it. That's the
all
game.
we got.
That's the entirety of it. I mean, it is absolutely the definition of an ultralight, right? Like, I was really impressed with what they packed into the 61 pages of rules that they had in here. But yeah, it was, I don't know. It was definitely a decent game. I really
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really love the rules lightness of it and how it leaves a lot up to the referee to just make calls on how it's going to work.
Yeah.
I did find that the book was hard to discern the rules.
Yeah.
It was harder to define the rules of the game than I had hoped. But there is an example of play, and it's like 7 or 8 pages long, and it really helped kind of cement what this game is and how it's supposed to be played. And that's the artwork. We haven't talked about the artwork yet, but
right.
The artwork for me, I really enjoy the artwork because it's up there. I find it's up there with MÖRK BORG and Pirate Borg. It's got that certain type of feel that kind of brings the book together.
Sure.
It is a certain different style that is not overly it's difficult. So what it is it's a collage. It's a collage of public domain images that are layered upon each other and kind of doodled with and colored funky. Very well done. But it is a little hard to look at the first time. The first time I flipped through, I was like, oh, what the heck's this? Oh,
dude, absolutely.
And then after I actually sat and looked at it, I went, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I had put in my I thought the artwork, it was strange. I mean, it's fine for what it is. It's not my cup of tea, I'll tell you that much. But with that being said, it does lead into the theme of the book, which is just like the off the wall, the strangeness. It almost has like a Monty Python feel to it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like
the foot of God coming down, stomping. Yeah. It's very much that feel.
It's just got that kind of feel.
It doesn't
without
quite
the humor,
feel right.
Right. It's just it's like a little bit off kind of thing. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I will say that the adventure at the end looks like a lot of fun.
For sure.
I would like to try playing it once just to see what it plays like. That's about it for me. How about you?
I mean, yeah, this game, in my opinion, this game gives new meanings to the rules light. This is currently the rules light champion in terms of like how small the book can be while being a functional RPG. For the time being, this one can wear the crown. It's a weird game. It's definitely interesting. It's definitely got the in-depth component of things, but with it being super light and easy to jump into, it's kind of just this weird kind of mashup, right? Like, I love the fact that the tables kind of drive the game forward. That was really cool. We talked about the artwork being just kind of weird and a little bit off the wall. And I mean, I like I said, the game's almost like complicated in its own way, which is really weird to say about a game that's got 60 pages for rules. I can't say that I would grab this one off off the bookshelf before I picked up something like MÖRK BORG, Pirate Borg, or Traveler or something. But I mean, to have it on the shelf and at $15, I really don't think you can go wrong with this one. It would be a lot of fun, but this one I think I need to actually do a couple rounds with before I was able to say like, yeah, I would or wouldn't like this one.
It would look great on the shelf.
Absolutely.
And I would be putting it right beside my MÖRK BORG
For
and
sure.
Pirate Borg book. But yeah,
it would be. I think
would not be one of the ones that I reach for.
No,
regularly.
it would be really tough. You'd have to have a solid, regular RPG group to throw this one down and have everyone be excited for it. And I think a lot of that comes with the expectation of being theater of the mind 100%, right? Because that's asking a lot.
Your players have to buy into that kind of game.
That's asking a lot from
it is.
from your group. If they're not the type of people to really get into the role play aspect of things, I don't know. This one might not be completely up there. But again, at $15, it's one of those games. There's a lot of good stuff in here.
Honestly, if your game party is not playing or not into the role play, the rules lights are not your go-to anyway.
That's right. That is the trade-off. Like, to do the rules light, you have to eliminate a lot of the combat stuff. A lot of the nitty-gritty comes out.
A lot of the crunching goes away.
Yep. So it is one of those things. So, but that's gonna do it for that. I think we should jump into the post-pod.
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 Do we have our jingle yet?
We don't have a jingle yet. I didn't even ask, actually.
Post-pod. It's the post-pod.
Post-pod. I mean, that's good. Every time it gets better. Every time it gets better.
We'll figure something out for that.
I threw together this one today, and so I wanted to throw to you to ask, what homebrew rule or mechanic or whatever needs to be in every game that you put forward? What's something that you kind of are like, nah, this is the table rule. This is how we do it.
Well, first off, encumbrance out the window.
100%.
We don't need to.
Yeah,
we don't need encumbrance around here.
Yeah, anything that requires people to track with pen and paper and it's like doesn't have any impact on the game is immediately out at my table.
That's right. The new one that I'm going to do is the HP from Into the Odd.
You're gonna add that one in, hey?
Oh yeah, take the strength down.
I like
Heck
that.
Yeah.
I do like the wound system is a really cool idea.
Yes, I don't know if it would work with the crunchy games, but gosh darn, I'm going to make it try because is so. And it's not
it's not a permanent debuff, but it would make you think before you ran into combat.
It would, and it would stop you from yo-yoing back and forth, from down and up and down and up, right?
Yeah.
That and the luck rolls. The luck
rolls I thought was
a
cool
good
idea
one too. That to decide the fate of today.
Yep.
And actually, that's kind of what Tales of the Manticore did with his weather, right?
Yep.
He would roll on his weather chart and see how much went on and what kind of stuff happened during that day. And his random encounters also did that.
A little bit of chaos is a good thing.
A little bit of chaos makes things just how about you?
So for this one here, I think so it's tough for me because my initial reaction was to go to the funnel for the creation, the character creation, because I feel like that is the right way to create characters. But to have it in every single game, I don't know if I could do that, right? Because again, it would require the right group to be there. I think for me, the mechanic that needs to be in every single game is when you're creating characters, and this is something we do with our main D&D group. We have multiple paths to get you to your ability scores.
Yeah.
So we've got the standard 4d6 drop one. We've got a 3d6 for the things, and then we've got this new one that our DM introduced us to, which is you roll 76. You roll 76, and all your skills, all of your abilities start at 8.
Can't be below.
Be below 8. So all your abilities start at 8. You roll 7d6, and then you use those dice to boost your abilities in the order that you'd like to boost them in. And so in those dice, you can take 2 and you can, take a 5 and a 6 to add 11 points to it if you wanted to, kind of thing, right? But what it does is it creates a high and a low kind of thing. For somebody like me that is really bad at rolling dice, who is very cursed when it comes to rolling dice, those types of things are make or break for games for me, because if my character starts off bad, the rest of the game's no good. And so something that I think needs to be in every game is that concept of like having the safety net option for your character.
A point buy system. Yeah.
Either a point buy system or an array or
array,
the 76 concept. The idea is that you will not have a broken character, because I have rolled 4d6 drop 1 and 3d6 and ended up with a character that was like average across the board and awful in a few. No good stats anywhere kind of thing. Right?
I will say our 3d6 is supposed to be 3d6 3 times, and then you pick that for your stat.
Sorry, that's a good point.
I roll 3d6 straight down the line 6 times. That's it.
Hardcore mode.
Yeah.
I find that would be where I lean to for a lot of the homebrew stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because you want it to be fun for everyone.
Absolutely.
And nobody's having fun with a broken character.
No. I gotta say that the character creation in a lot of these ultralights really speak to me. Like, I really like the character creation in a lot of these. The funnel in Dungeon Crawl Classics, though, is like, I think that's top tier, my favorite character creation of all time. Like, I love that a lot.
I do. I like that one because of the randomness of it.
That's why I love it.
It is so perfect for that. I will say I did try the D20 for your stats once.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was tough. That's a tough one.
And we ended up having a character with like 3 20s for their stats. It was
they rolled really well, but that could very easily swing the other direction.
So what I should have done, thinking back, I should have said, you can roll the D20, but you don't get your racial benefits.
Right.
That would have offset that quite a bit.
You're maxed out at 20. Period.
Yeah.
Full stop.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think we maxed out at 20.
I think we did. Yeah, we started it out as one of those things, but that's it. That's all. Another episode in the bank, episode 13, Into the Odd. Go and grab this one. It's on Drive-Thru RPG for $15 if you want a digital copy of it. The hardcover copy of it, though, is also available. You can buy it directly from the website. Obviously, you can get it from other spaces that sell books and games like this.
Check your game store.
Check your game store.
If they don't have it, you can
probably
ask
order
them
it.
to bring it in.
You bet. Go and talk to your local friendly game store. They've got everything you need right there.
And it helps them out.
It does. Yeah, you got to do it. You got to help them out. If you enjoyed the episode today, we would appreciate if you do us a solid and click the ratings and comments part on the podcast of your choice, whether it be Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. That is by far the best way that you can support us and the show, as well as even just telling your friends about it and getting the word out about the podcast and letting folks know that we are here delivering that sweet TTRPG stuff for you every 2 weeks.
There's also a multitude of different ways you guys can get in touch with us. One being our email, mastersofpenandpaper@gmail.com. Send us some sweet stories about your campaigns
let us know.
or games or game systems that you maybe want us to check out, or just, hey, this is a cool system that's out there. Take a look at it or whatever.
Episode 15 is coming up, and it's going to be another behind the screens. So
behind the screens. So
give us your questions, your stories, whatever.
Yeah. There's a link to the Discord. Our Discord that'll be in the description there. Our Discord is awesome. Our community is awesome.
Yep. We
would love to have you come visit. We've got a TTRPG channel that's up and running.
Come and light up the channel.
We could do all sorts of stuff on there.
As well, you can also find us live streaming Dungeons and Dragons every single Sunday night over on Twitch at twitch.tv/DGOnline. We also stream that to YouTube at youtube.com/@DadGamingOnline. And that's where you'll find this podcast on YouTube as well, in case you want to watch. If you want to watch the listening version of it, it's not a video podcast. It's simply a audio podcast as well. But yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, those are definitely the best ways to do so. And yeah, we hope to hear from you. And thank you very much for downloading this episode. We'll see you on the next one, on episode 14. That's coming at you in 2 weeks' time. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good one. See ya.